Recently, there was this rumor going around about a certain map coming back to Warzone, Verdansk. But here's the thing, I wouldn't get my hopes up for that just yet. As we go along, drop your thoughts down below. Would you be interested in seeing Verdansk back? Is that something you want to see? Or if you have the thought process that it wouldn't be the same at all? Whatever the case, drop your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed the video, you find it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 2 and all things FPS games as we branch out here into some other content upcoming. Finally, check out my friends over at Gamer Advantage. Code Espresso can get you 10% off your entire order, but more on them in a bit. For now, let's jump into the discussion here with a little bit of throwback footage from Verdansk way back in the day. So the initial rumor was kickstarted from Neon Sniper Panda's podcast about 2 weeks ago at this point, where he sat down and chatted with rapper and streamer T Grizzly, who said, quote, "I played Verdansk, I signed an NDA so I can't talk about it," but followed up by saying that it was indeed on PC that he had played it on. So where the heck did this come from? Because not like in terms of sourcing, but the prospect that Verdansk is somehow coming to PC once again, because this is the first time we've heard anything about this in such capacity. No other real news outlet has reported on this. Industry insiders Jason Schreier of Bloomberg, Tom Henderson of Inside Gaming, no one like that ended up talking about this and putting out information on it. No in-game data miners like Task Force Leakers 141, who've ended up combing through the game files and what has been recently added with Season 3, has mentioned anything of this. No real normal outlets we've seen of the past that have solid track records. I've even asked people that I know that have some sources and they're like, what? So what's the possible explanation here for this? Well, number one, it could be entirely fabricated. That's definitely a possibility. Two, it could be something that there are definitely emulators already working and out there from what I've heard that will allow you to play COD Mobile Warzone on PC. And Warzone Mobile ends up having Verdansk as that primary map as opposed to Al Mazrah. That in and of itself is a strange story where apparently it wasn't quite ready for whenever they needed their initial playtests and building it out, so they ended up just using Verdansk. That coming from the whole era of way back where the closed alpha leaked like everything for Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and then even some stuff in COD 2024, but different story for a different day. But also, third option, maybe it actually is happening. Maybe he did play Verdansk, but in that case, well, I'd expect the suits at Activision are going to be coming down pretty heavy if that's the case, because even just by saying he's under NDA and he played Verdansk, well, it's breaking NDA. But if we're being realistic here at this best case, perfect world, it somehow is what everybody wants, needs, and satisfies them with Warzone, and it does perhaps come to the game. But as the title, thumbnail, or whatever the case may suggest, as our first sentence of the video will end up saying is, don't get your hopes up, because I really don't think that's going to happen. If we revisit this in a few months, great. I would honestly love to be wrong. I'd be all for something that makes the community happy. I mean, that's something that I feel like we really haven't had much of that this year with Modern Warfare 2 and Warzone 2, but I'd much rather be skeptical with everything we've seen transpire this year. I'm not necessarily going to get my hopes up for this, but if it does happen, sure, pleasant surprise. I wouldn't be mad or anything if it came back. But here's the next part of this whole thing. Even if by like some air quote miracle this would come, I'm sure many people want it to come, many people don't want it to come. I just don't think that this will be the salvation that many people think it will be. When we look at Warzone 2 right now, I don't think that Verdansk really is that be-all, end-all and what we need as a community. Verdansk was an incredibly fun map, for sure. It was the original, can't beat the original sometimes, but let's take off the rose-tinted glasses, even just on the map for a second. It was still a really flawed map in a lot of areas. It got way better as time went on, and I think by the end, before we transitioned over to Caldera, it was in a really good spot with more zip lines, fast travel options, loot zones, and all that kind of stuff, and different adjusted POIs, points of interest. Maybe you liked downtown being leveled, maybe you liked the bunkers, maybe you didn't, but it was definitely a positive progression from March 2020 to where we were at the end of, 2021, whenever Caldera is going to be dropping with the Vanguard integration and Season 1 at that point. It was definitely a fun map and definitely, I think, positive steps towards being much more playable. I've said it before, I honestly kind of wish what we saw throughout the Vanguard year of support and what we saw within Caldera, how that all worked out. I would love to, just out of my curiosity's sake, I would have loved to see how that played on Verdansk with things like the lootable perks, the redeploy balloons, and everything that would help you traverse the map even more. I do think that would be really cool for those that really like to grind out Verdansk. I know that some people say that that stuff was corny, it kind of destroyed Warzone, and that is just subjective. I think it's to each their own, but for me personally, I would have at least, like, in an alternate way of like a bubble universe, been able to play that and see how that compared, but I mean, that's one of those things that will never happen. The biggest part, though, is the game right now that we have is not the same game fundamentally. People love zipping around Verdansk, they loved the mechanics, they loved everything that came along with that experience, but if you were to take that map and put it into this experience, it would be incredibly different. Warzone 2 has different movement, different weapon mechanics, restricted abilities for one-shot, one-kills with snipers, lack of buy stations by comparison, the lack of inventory in buy stations. I think you would see a drastic change in community sentiment and how people would feel about Verdansk if you brought it back and introduced it into what we have right now. If you somehow brought it back to Warzone 1 and it was something that players were able to jump back into the classic experience, I think you might get a different outcome. But putting it into the Warzone 2 experience right now, I don't think that it would do the same for everybody and what they thought. I mean, there's no real way to know at all, but I just personally kind of see it going down the way of something we kind of long for but will never actually have, and if it were to happen, it would be a different feeling of it, just like a Modern Warfare 2 remastered thing from 2009, where so many people for so many years wanted a game that was remastered of that. But if I'm honest, I don't think Modern Warfare 2 from 2009 would hold up as a remaster today. Too many people, myself included, have an interest in this balance when fundamentally that game was broken and the netcode made it even more broken. I think if you brought that back today, people would just be irate. But again, off topic, my bad. What the future holds is definitely a mystery, though we do have some ideas as for what's upcoming and what we may be able to expect in the next like 6 months or so here at this point. I mean, recently we talked about how there was another map leaked within Season 3 game files, potentially coming for Season 4 if we take a look at what we ended up having from previously leaked documents from internal Activision memos, stating that we'd see another small map within Season 4, small map always being the verbiage used for a Resurgence map in Warzone, that being called Vondel and apparently set in Amsterdam as a new Resurgence map. So that's one that we can kind of look forward to, but then we'll also have another big map experience in the future. Right now, that's not rumored to be Verdansk, but instead is rumored to be Las Almas, with a TAC map and everything already in the game. Locations even corresponding to said TAC map, like we see with ground war maps for Verdansk in Modern Warfare 2019, the fire team maps from Black Ops Cold War of the scrapped Blackout 2.0, things like we see right now within Ground War in Modern Warfare 2 from Al Mazrah. We already have a couple of those locations already matching up one-to-one with that TAC map, so indicating heavily that that will be the map for the 2023-2024 year of Warzone 2. So while we could be wrong, don't wait on the edge of your seat for Verdansk to return, because I think you'll be waiting a long time here at that. Eventually, I do think it'd be cool to see if it was added, maybe as a rotational map or something like that, where we have a collection of maps on rotation, on random selection, cycling through everything. I think that'd be really cool, but we have a lot of work in terms of sizing optimization before we end up getting there. But right now, just wouldn't get my hopes up. So if you heard that rumor, don't buy too far into it. Be cautious with it. If it is something that happens again, I'd be totally fine if we end up getting that one wrong. But for now, don't get the hopes up too much. Now, before we wrap everything up, do me a favor, check out my friends over at Gamer Advantage. I've done the pitch plenty of times before. Best blue light glasses on the market. I love these guys. Most comfortable, lightweight, and durable frames out there, and their lenses are clinically proven. Also, if you have insurance, it can help cover some of the cost, if not all of the cost. So that's a great benefit as well. But if you guys want to learn more about their lenses, the frames, all of the science behind it, link in the description below. But if you guys want to pick something up for yourself, invest in your vision health, use code Espresso to get 10% off your entire order. But for now, that's what we're going to call it. So let me know your thoughts down below. Would you guys like to see Verdansk return here one final time within Warzone 2? Do you think it'd be a fit? Maybe not so much. Whatever the case, drop your thoughts below. But if you enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing to stay up to date with all things Modern Warfare 2 and anything FPS related here as we gear up for some other content in the near future. But for now, thanks so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.